Cooking. I'm Rebecca Werner, the registered dietitian with the Hearts Beat Back, Heart of New Ulm Project. And tonight we have a great Lenten recipe. You know, everybody tries to find different ways to make that fish taste good, but I've got the solution for you tonight. We're going to make some really great fish tacos. With this, we'll be using some whole wheat tortillas. Remember, we try to get our grains, at least half of our grains, from whole grains. Now, we can have up to 11 bread servings on the old pyramid. We have cut that down a little bit, but we want to make sure at least 4 to 5 of our servings per day come from whole grains. So that's why we're getting in these whole grain, 100% whole grain tortillas. Now, when we buy things like tortillas and bread and it says whole wheat, if it does not say 100%, then it's not going to meet that whole grain requirement. Make sure you're looking at your food labels and knowing what you eat. This is going to be a simple, quick, and delicious recipe. We're going to make a nice sauce that's going to go on our tacos, and we're going to heat up a nice piece of tilapia. All right, so we're going to just start with some low-fat sour cream. Now, this is going to be basically depending on how much of the fish you're going to make. So it's what you need. We're going to start with about this much. Anytime you have fish tacos, it sounds like a Mexican dish, and it really is. And anytime you have Mexican, what goes best with that but cilantro? We're going to dice up just a bit of this. And we don't need a lot. Cilantro definitely has its a unique flavor. We want to make sure we cut it small enough that we're not chewing on pieces of this in our food. We're going to cut it just like parsley. And oftentimes the two are mistaken in the grocery store. They look a lot alike. So make sure you're grabbing the cilantro and not the parsley. You're going to definitely have a different flavor. As I cut the cilantro already, I can smell it, and I know it's going to add some great flavor. So we're going to add that in there as well. You can see that's a pretty fine chop. I'm going to mix that in there. Now with this, we want to thin that down just a bit. Okay, so we're going to add in some lime juice. We'll mix that up a little bit. Okay, we're getting to a better consistency now. And then we're going to add a little bit of a different ingredient on here as well. Because we have the sour cream, we kind of want to neutralize that flavor just a bit. And by that, I'm going to go ahead and use some red wine vinegar. A small amount, but it's going to add a distinctive flavor to this topping. All right? Now, the nice thing about this is we'll get it to the consistency we want. If you want this to be a little bit more runny, we can do that. If we want to keep it thick, we'll just add a small amount of our liquid ingredients. And that's about it. That's as easy as the topping is. Okay? So once we have that put together, we're going to let that sit here, and we're going to go ahead and go back to the stove and get working on our tilapia and our tortillas. Okay? All right, here at the stove, we're going to go ahead and get this heated up a bit. We're going to use just a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. A question had been sent to me just recently that when they look at food labels or recipes, they see EVOO. And what does that mean? That is your extra virgin olive oil. Remember, our extra virgin is going to be the first pressing of the olive, so it's going to be a little bit more olivey flavor. It does have a slight bit more antioxidants as well, and so if you like that flavor of olive, it's worth the extra investment. If you don't care as much and you just want the nutritional benefits, you're all right with a regular olive oil. We're going to let that oil heat up. We have it nicely coated on the bottom of the pan. We didn't use much oil. We don't need a lot. Just enough to make sure our fish isn't going to stick. Now I picked up some very nice fresh tilapia out of our meat market today. And that's the best way to have fish. You know, a lot of people say they don't like the fishy taste of fish, which is kind of confusing, but I know what they mean. So we want to make sure it's nice and fresh, that it's not getting that slimy coating on it, and it's going to have the best flavor. I'm going to get about 3 pieces in here. And if I can tell you anything about making fish, it's keep a close eye. This tilapia is very thin and it's going to cook real quickly. You don't want to overcook it. You can see even after just 30 seconds, I flipped it and it's already starting to turn a thick white and losing that pink, opaque coloring. We want to make sure that the fish is just flaking a little bit, and then it will be ready to come out of the pan. Let's get that one separated. There we go. Tilapia is going to be one of our very low-fat fish. it isn't fatty enough to actually have the omega-3 fatty acids that we're looking for. So when we think about fish and omega-3 fatty acids, which are beneficial for your heart, tilapia actually does not meet that bill just because it is such a lean, low-fat meat. We want to make sure if you're looking for those omega-3 fatty acids, we have things like salmon, tuna, or mackerel. Lent is a great time to try some of these different fish recipes if you haven't pulled them out before. You're going to see that fish taco sounds like a fancy dinner, but it's not going to take us more than 10 minutes to put it together. We'll let that cook all the way through. Now with the tortillas, you could actually heat them up in the microwave. You can have them plain, or you can pan fry them as well. That's an easy way to have a little bit of extra flavor. We're going to eat them plain tonight, just for the ease of the recipe. You know, making sure we get our 7 to 9 fruits and vegetables works well with our Community Health Challenge. Making sure that we get the fruits and vegetables, our physical activity, reduce your stress level, and make sure you're getting plenty of sleep. These are going to help you lose it to win it. Our Community Health Challenge will continue for the next 6 months. If you haven't been to the kiosk or you haven't logged into your account at Incinta Health, make sure you're doing so. It's up to you to make sure our community receives up to $100,000 in park equipment and bicycle lane improvements. We can only do that if you lose it, the communities will win it. All right, so our tilapia, just one more flip, I think. I want to make sure I have it cooked all the way through. Remember, it is a sea fish, a saltwater fish, so if it's not thoroughly cooked, it's not harmful. It just has the best flavor when we start seeing it flake like that. You can see how it's easily flaking off on this side. We want to make sure we get it that way on both sides. Even with that little bit of olive oil, we do see it sticking a little bit on the bottom, and that's okay. We don't want to add extra fat and ruin a really great, heart healthy recipe. Now with this, you could have some brown rice to be served with this. We often think of fish and chips, but with a taco, we want to make sure we have things like a refried bean or baked beans or any kind of legume that's going to really add some nice protein into your diet as well. All right, let's go and take this over to the counter. All right, now that we have our fish fully cooked, you can see it has nice color and flakes off well. We're just going to basically put this into our tortilla. You get a nice fillet and line them up. Get it all set to go. You know, your farmers markets are about to start soon. Make sure you get out there and patronize your local growers. And it's our best way to get your healthiest, most nutritious fruits and vegetables as well. The closer to the ground, to the time of picking, the more nutrients that we have. All right, we're adding in just a little bit of our dip or our topping in there. We're going to roll this up tight. And voila, we are ready to enjoy a delicious fish taco. Easy enough, Lenten approved, and delicious. That's it. That's this week's episode of What's Cooking, New Ulm. I'll see you next week.